Good morning, everybody. Is it live? Can you hear me? I'll speak a little louder. I'm Lucy Lynch. I'm from the University of Oregon. Welcome to Eugene. I have some really short remarks. Like almost everything we do at the University of Oregon, this has been a communal effort. I'm going to go hippy-dippy on you for a minute here because you are in Eugene. I'm going to talk about why we did this, not how we did this. Hey, Hans, no more Janice, please. I can't contend with Janice Joplin. In order to say why we did this, I'm going to reference the great 60s philosopher, Kurt Vonnegut. In his book, Cat's Cradle, he posited something he called the Carafe. The Carafe was a team of people who do a great work, even though they don't know what they're doing. The University of Oregon Computing Center is a Carafe. Nanog is a Carafe. There's an overlap between those two. Sometimes it's people coming in, like our good friends Steve Huter and Randy Bush with the NSRC, who've come into the University of Oregon, like our good friends from Africa, from AFNOG, who've come into the University of Oregon. We've also had people go out. Kurt Windisch is here today, Greg Shepard's here today, Pete Hamelstein's here today. They all worked at the U of O, and now they're part of your group. Where these two things overlap is Dave Meyer. He was the intersection of these two carafes initially. He's still part of us. He's part of you. Not coincidentally, he's also part of our other co-host today, Sprint. I give you Dave Meyer.
Wow. That's not fair. I can't even type anymore. All right, so I have something much more lame than that. Okay, I don't know how this is going to work. So Lucy did the welcome. That was really nice, Lucy. And I just wanted, my job here was really to do the hosts network thing, so that's what I'm going to do right now. First, I wanted to welcome you all. Lucy did such a great job of that, so I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm just going to go right and tell you what the network's about here, because that's my job. Basically, there's a lot of fancy pictures out on Lucy's website of what's there, and Randy was giving me a hard time about not having any, but I just thought, I'm not very good with fancy pictures, but somebody was, and they made these. And oh, that was Joel, of course. And Joel also made a really nice map of where all the access points are, so you can see the coverage in the hotel, which is on that. And by the way, these are all on whatever my website there is. So if you want them, just go there. So that's where all the access points are. That's a really nice map because it tells you where there's going to be coverage. Which, by the way, Joel, great job. It's almost everywhere. There's some monitoring stuff that Carlos did. That's up here. Is that up yet, Carlos? Where we are? Is it up? Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be on that site. And all of the information is probably much better collected by Lucy than I, and so that's where it is. So just get on Lucy's stuff on her site, and you'll see all this stuff. And, okay, so I was supposed to talk about the network, and so when I was building the part of it that I built, I made my own schematic because I don't really know how to use any presentation tools, so this is what I did. It's more or less, that's more or less what's going on out here. Basically, we kind of have a lot of nice facilities. Over at the University of Oregon switch room, we have a Sprint router in there, and from there we're driving gig ether down to here on Metro, on the U of O and City of Eugene fiber plant. So it's kind of nice. We have a gig ether down to here from there. Then down here we have a bunch of switching infrastructure, which is, go look on Joel's thing because it has all the nice switching infrastructure. But the schematic is there's a gig ether switch on this end of it of the fiber path. There's an intrusion detection system sitting there, which I think we're kind of trial running this for the IETF, right, more or less. And then we have a router down here with a couple of interfaces on it, so it's a pretty simple thing. And then there's a bunch of in-building switching fabric, which I will ask you to go to Lucy's page and look at Joel's great pictures of those because I couldn't replicate those in Emacs at all. So this is really this situation. And the router down here is it's kind of a nice thing because since we owned all the facilities between here and the university, we could pair it up with whoever is out there. So it's paired with Sprint. It's paired, and of course we were using the Nanog address space in AS for that, which is 236. And it's paired with my house and U of O and Abilene because we wanted to put some. Well, I had to debug it. So we wanted to put some MPEG-4 streams out over Abilene, so the Abilene people were kind enough to route the Merit prefixes. So that's really what's going on in terms of the network. And if you have questions or comments about it, we'll be glad to answer any of those. But really, it's Joel who knows the answer to whatever your question is, and that's in general true. Not even networks, just in general. So that's more or less the 10,000-mile view of the network. It took me a while to figure out how to get a screenshot too. I didn't know how to do that either. But so I wanted to say a few thank yous. Lucy did such a great job. It's really, like she said, it's really been quite a communal effort. We've really put, I came down here on Saturday morning after I stumbled down here kind of on Saturday morning after I had some coffee, and there were people unloading trucks and stuff. It was like people I'd never seen before. It was really great. Everybody was pitching in. It was like Randy said, it was like Interop 15 years ago. It was a completely buzz of activity, and it was really, really wonderful. But let me just go here to the thank yous that I got. And if I miss anybody, it just means I'm incompetent. Well, the first thing, I'll just go for the Sprint folks first. This is in no order. So there are a lot of people at Sprint who helped us make this happen, including the copyright, or what is it, the logo people who allowed us to use the word Sprint on the T-shirt. Ted Seeley, of course, we couldn't have done it without Ted. Michael Buttry, who's around somewhere. If you see these guys, thank them. They're the people who got the bandwidth here. Joe Burke, I think, inherited the administrative aspects of this from several different people, but they all made it happen. So we're all here with that, and I'm happy about it because we have good bandwidth and good connectivity. So thank them if you have a chance. Joanne Huge staff, well, that's who we are. Joanne and her people are really what's making this happen in large things. So I want to go a little bit in detail. First off, Dale Smith and the entire University of Oregon Network Services crew are what's really, really helping us with switching, with everything that we need. They're highly professional, and in my case, Dale taught me about everything I know about networking. So, if you see those people, thank them. They're making it happen. Joe, Hans, Joel, and Lucy work directly for Joe, and so he's loaning them to us for this. Mary Bradley, if you see Mary, she's out working at the T-shirt distribution center out there. She's helping us with all the computing needs, and she's pretty mean with a tape gun too, I found out. Lynn, of course, she was working the desk yesterday and general moral support for everything we need. Who else I got? Oh, Dave Crow, he gave us a ton of router parts. We had router parts coming at us from every different direction. It was great. Oh, if you like the shirt, Dave Ragsdale, he built that. It was great. Is he around? Is Dave here? Well, if you see him. John Meyer gave me a couple of router parts, some memory, stuff like that, and he unfortunately didn't have a chance to make it, but they helped us out. Kent June, City of Eugene people, they helped us with the Metro Fiber stuff. So I'm trying to give you the idea that this is really a labor of love and an effort of a lot of people to make this happen. Okay, so I'll shut up now, but finally I just want to thank Lucy, because Lucy was the person who coordinated it, kept us on track, made it all happen really, and all the things that Lucy didn't do, Joel did. So, Joel. So everything good came from U of O and Sprint people and Merit and everything, and all your participation here is what's making it happen. So thank you very much for coming, and I'll shut up now.
Good morning. I'm John Curran. I'm the chairman of ARIN. For the first time ever, ARIN and Nanog are meeting back to back. We decided, since we have to get a lot of bright people together in a room, and we have to make sure we have a network, and we have to talk about a lot of the same topics, it might be best to coordinate. I'd like to start by saying it's incredible that we were able to do this. I'd like to start by thanking the NANOG Program Committee, that the folks at ARIN who were able to work with to make happen, and certainly would like to say at the end of the day, I think that this is the first of such meetings. If it makes sense and people like it, let us know. We can do more. If it doesn't make sense, let us know. We can do less. But to the extent that it makes sense, I'd like to be able to keep doing it. So I want us to talk a little bit about ARIN's presence here during the NANOG meeting, just so you folks know it's not just the meetings are back-to-back. We actually sort of intermixed a little bit of ARIN around to the point that it might be useful. First thing is there's a registration services help desk. That's on the mezzanine level. That's the level on the second floor above the bar. There is hours during the conference this week, so you see them on the screen, 8 to 9, 12:30 to 1:30, and 4:30 to 5, so they won't get in the way of the sessions. So if you have questions about how to format a particular request for AS or IP address assignments or updating the database, this is the time to be able to sit down with someone from the ARIN registrations desk and work out those issues. Additionally, there's a learning center. If you want to sit down and do some computer-based training, there's been a lot of changes at ARIN. We have a new database coming out. It has new rules for how you do updates and delegation of authority. So you can go up there and get some quick learning. No one will take notes or notice that you're actually educating yourself, but it's a good time to sneak away if you find yourself with 15 or 20 minutes to come up to speed. Again, the same location, mezzanine level. So I recommend everyone, if you get a chance, wander up. I'm going to say we have something very important happening this week, which is the ICANN ASO Address Council election. The Internet Consortium for Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, is the organization which is responsible for overall coordination of a number of things: DNS policy, IP address policy, to some extent protocol coordination. And for the address space, what we have something called the ASO, which is the Address Supporting Organization, and that organization is what is used to coordinate the three RIRs and represent the input of them into this organization, ICANN. We're doing an election for an ASO representative. It is open to any ARIN or a NANOG attendee. It's a wide open election. There will be a voting booth set up down here in the corner where you can go put in your information and cast your ballot. There's a list of candidates online. This is the group that's responsible for helping coordinate global internet policy between the RIRs. So to the extent that you want to have someone there who knows something, it's time to cast your vote. We've got something happening after the NANOG meeting, which is the public policy meeting of ARIN 10. That'll happen on the 30th and 31st, and that's, again, wide open to anyone. We welcome your input. There's going to be a lot of interesting policy questions coming up about IP address allocation, so you might want to read up on them and participate. On the 1st, we have the ARIN members meeting, and all ARIN members are welcome to attend. That's where we handle the logistics of budget and board elections and things like that. Our full meeting agenda is online, so feel free to peruse the meeting agenda. If you want to know what we're talking about over those next 2 days, when we do the ARIN meeting, the open policy, these are some of the list of policy proposals, changes to how we do address allocation that are currently under discussion. So you don't have to give input, you don't have to, care, but one of those probably affects how you get IP address space. So consider whether or not you want to be part of it if you can spend some time after the NANOG meeting. A couple other quick things. We'll be talking quite a bit about ICANN, as I already mentioned, during the open policy meeting, and IPv6 as the RIRs begin to work on transition and coordination for production IPv6 address assignment. That will certainly be an active discussion during the public policy meeting. I think it's great, again, that we've been able to put these meetings back to back, but we are interested in your feedback. I'd like to thank everyone for just for being here and being able to be part of the process. I'd also like to give thanks, in particular again, to the NANOG Program Committee that allowed this to happen. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to the person who made it all possible from the Merit side, which is Susan Harris, the NANOG Program Coordinator.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful to have the two groups together this week. I've spoken with several of you who are going to ARIN for the first time. That's exactly what we intended. You will be surprised, as I said before, to discover that policy at ARIN, in a way, really doesn't come from ARIN. It comes from the ground up, us being the ground. The users are the ones who figure out what they would like to have happen, and ARIN makes it happen. It's a very unusual meeting in that way. Lucy, where are you? I do want to make a special point of thanking Lucy for stepping up and saying that she would take on the responsibility of both these meetings. I think it's the most any host has ever done for us, and we are very grateful to her. Also, of course, to Dave Meyer. We always see Cisco on our list of supporters. They supply base stations for the wireless network cards and help with the multicast broadcast. IETF also supplied base stations this time. The Measurement Factory and the person of Dwayne Lessels we want to thank for our webcache and a lot of other services he does for the network. Founders fed us this morning. We are particularly grateful for that, of course. And here you see a list of the sponsors you'll meet at the Beer and Gear tonight. So here's where we are today. I think it's probably a little higher than 5:30 actually. We're up a little bit from our last two meetings, as you can see. About 8 NAPs are represented and about 16 schools, colleges, universities. And as always, the numbers of people who are coming from outside the U.S. and Canada continues to grow. I'm getting over a cold. Did you notice? Wait till you hear me tomorrow morning. We'll really be thrilled. I want to thank Ren Nolan and Jared Mauk, who gave me some of the ideas for looking at these attendance numbers. As you can see, just about 4 to 1 people from commercial outfits outnumbering those of us who are from nonprofits. I think that's pretty typical for the meeting. A good 2 to 1 ISPs over vendors. Not that I see us as competing or different or anything. And then we have other. I'm an other. I'm from Merit Network, which is a nonprofit in Ann Arbor. So others are government, other R&E, consulting, and so on. And here's who brought the most people here today. You are outweighing all of us. That's my organization down there, the one with 12. The NANOG list continues to grow as well. We being NANOG, were one of the first meetings to ever be broadcast in real video. This was back in 1998. It was the first time John Brown hosted us in Albuquerque. And we had people from Real Media come down and show us what was what, and we were amazed at what could happen. Merit has since taken over that responsibility of producing the real audio broadcast. It's Jason in the back who handles that. So not only are we broadcasting the talks today, but the talks will live forever on the World Wide Web. All the talks since then have been recorded and are available. What you do is you go to the agenda page, you click on the talk, and there'll be an abstract and a link not only to the slides, but to the real video stream. This meeting will be available in a few weeks on real video. As Dave mentioned, we're using an intrusion detection system this time, for the first time for both meetings, just to give the network a little extra security. We do want to assure you that any personal information that comes off in that would never be shared with a third party unless we're required to do that by law. And also, all personal information will be destroyed within 5 days of the end of the meetings. The system we're using is called Bro. It was developed by Vern Paxton, who actually is one of our speakers this morning. There's more information at this URL. And when you go to the main NANOG page and you click on network information, this URL is there, and there's also an easy way to get to all of Lucy's stuff as well. So that's on the network.html page. As those of you who read the NANOG list know, I have been remiss in not reminding you that our wireless network here is totally insecure. Anything you put over the net in plain text could be easily grabbed by someone with very simple tools, and they will magically know your password. Do not send any passwords over this network without using authentication or some kind of encryption protocol. SSH is what a lot of people use. And now, us guys are done. It's my great pleasure to introduce Mark Sachs from Washington, someone who actually reads the NANOG list. Mark. Yes, we can all go.